First of all, just the signing of your contract, we haven't spoken since that announcement. It's so important to the fabric of this club and the ongoing success of this footy club.
Oh yeah, look, it's a tremendous honour, obviously, and the gratitude our family have for what the club has done for us since we've been over here, and we really try to embrace the state and the club as much as we could, and to be given an extension, we're really privileged to be in that position, and they're really grateful.
Signing's all the talk at the moment. Can you give us the latest on Scott Lycett? There seems to be the reports that he's a done deal to Port Adelaide, and how does that affect you as a coach if in fact that's true?
Yeah, look, our priority, and unfortunately there's clubs at the moment that are out of the premiership race, and they need to get on with their list management and their decision making, but we're not in that phase. You know, our phase at the moment is winning against Collingwood on Saturday. So in regards to Scott, his #1 priority, and my #1 priority with him, is to get him right for this weekend. So trying to park all the outside noise is our focus, and I won't be commenting on what's happening with players' contracts and who's in and out and who we're trying to attract or try and keep. So as much to say that we really rate Scott as a player, and we're doing everything we can to keep him.
Does it affect your build-up, or does it affect his build-up if in fact he is leaving?
Well, I hope not. No, I mean, this is a part of the footy landscape now that clubs have got to deal with. So showing the maturity that we need to get over the line this week, that's our priority. So there's going to be, and we've had a lot to deal with this year off-field, which is not ideal, but it's just part of the industry now. So trying to stay on task and really focus for Collingwood is our #1 priority. But we're training here tonight. We've had a good week off and we're ready to go. So it's just outside noise.
So he hasn't told you that he's leaving as yet? You haven't spoken?
No, look, I'm not commenting. I'm not going to give you any running commentary on what we're doing or what Scott's doing or Andrew Gaff or McGovern or these guys. I said it from the start. So at the moment, my #1 focus and our players' #1 focus is this week.
And does it become a distraction though, given that we're here week 1 of finals and we're asking you about extensions and all of the extensions?
Not internally. I think, you know, I'm happy to deal with the questions, and you've got a job to do, and you know there's things in the paper that you've got to deal with. But our players are well and truly focused on what's important, and you know sometimes there's media that's, you know, goes over the top in the negative sense and then goes over the top in the positive sense. So trying to stay in the middle is our objective, and I think, you know, hopefully it's a sign of our maturity as a club and as a playing group that we can just get on with it.
Have you spoken to Scott to clear the air at all and asked him?
No, I've spoken to Scott about Grundy. So these things, I see him every day. So we're talking football.
How about Andrew Gaff? Is he back from Melbourne yet at all?
He is, yep. He'll be training tonight. So that's all back to normal, and you know, I'm sure he'll give you an update as soon as he wants to. But he's back within our club, and you know we put our arms around him and get him on the training track. He'll train and try and help our coaches as best he can.
When you say help
the group, do you mind just having him around?
Well, he hasn't been back yet, so he's back tonight. So we'll use him a little bit for some of our younger players, how to deal with, you know, big pressure games. He'll be at training. He'll be in the opposition when we train, so we can get into him a little bit. But you know, at the moment we just want to get him back and feeling comfortable around the club, and then we'll get on with it.
Is it a fine balance to know how you approach him training with the side, given that he's obviously not going to be there in September, and what's that coaching element looking like?
Oh, I made that up. I haven't spoken to him properly about what he wants to do. So he'll get back and train with us. There's a squad of probably 30 players that are in contention to play in our final series. So there's another 18 players who are there to help us out. So he's one of those 18.
You mentioned Grundy. Can you just talk about the challenge that he poses to you guys?
Oh, there's more than just that. But you know, obviously an All-Australian ruckman. You know, last time we played Collingwood, Nick went down halfway through the second quarter, and Scott, you know, had to carry the load. He did a reasonable job that day, and we know it's a different performance this week that we need. But yeah, the game's going to get a fair bit of build-up this week, and we can't wait.
In that game, their midfield group and Grundy would have spent a fair time focusing on Natanui, and probably caught them on the hop when he went down. How do you expect them to be different?
Oh, I don't think clubs are caught on the hop at all with their prep, with how they look at teams. So we definitely, I don't think they would have dismissed Scott's performance before that game. So look, that's one of the many battles that we're going to confront. Their midfield's exceptional, and they're playing a really good system, and they're going to be tough to beat.
Tell us about Treloar. The reports on Friday were that he's a 1 in a million chance of playing. Your thoughts on that, and your intel, does that tell you the same?
I've got no intel, so we'll find out on Thursday, I suppose, or train throughout the week. But once we see the teams, we'll worry about that. But no, I can't control any of that stuff, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Such an important player. Does it change your thinking in terms of selection and matchups and game plan?
Yes and no. Yeah, we won't go overs until we know what's going on. But no, he's a quality player, he's an A-grade midfielder, so he breaks the lines and he hits the scoreboard. So there's definitely some worries if he plays, but we won't be changing too much.
And JK said, yes, he's ready to go. Is the coach happy that he's done all the ticked all the boxes?
He trained on Friday and trained really well, and I think we said from last week, we've been trying to be as honest as we can, that he'll train, and now it's just getting through training's the next part. So we've got a couple more sessions to go, but at this stage, he looks pretty good.
How many times a week will you train on this surface?
We'll train there twice this week. We normally train main session here when we play. It's a balance because the surface is a little bit hard still, so we're just trying to get the right balance with training on there, but not going overs with it. So normally main training session.
And bringing back Josh, is that close to the starting 6 forward lineup that you had hoped at the start of the season?
That's an interesting question. I think we've been pretty diverse this year with our makeup in the front half. They've all played their role though, and everyone, you know, that you look at, it's probably been on the younger side. You know, the youngest part of our team's been our front half, and we've been pretty happy with the kids coming through. But, you know, it's another level this weekend, so I think more than anything, we're going to need our leaders.
Speaking of the leaders, how crucial is Josh to that, given that you've got the likes of Ryan and Rioli coming into their first finals experience here?
Yeah, all of our leaders are going to be important. You know, they've held their own this year. I think, you know, in particular, you know, the consistency when we travel, the maturity of the group, they've been together for a while now, so hopefully that holds us in good stead. But that really, I mean, that's something that we've been working on all year, so to say that's going to get us over the line's not quite there, but the maturity of the group and the professionalism which we need to go about things, that's really important.
Do you need the 3 talls this week? And I'm putting Schofield as a tall. I know he can play small, or does that come into calculations that with Mason Cox and Myercheck and a small forward line around them, does that change your thinking defensively?
Yes and no. You know, we've got match committee today and Wednesday and Thursday morning, so there's a bit to work through, and we'll look at that in more detail as the week goes. We deliberately stayed reasonably clear of doing all that last week. We wanted to let the dust settle, give the guys a couple of days off, give the coaches a few days off, and today's the day to get into all that.
You would have been cheering for East Perth and disappointed with the result?
Yeah, disappointing in the end, and I think we got jumped in the first quarter, but I thought they fought it out. I reckon we're probably the youngest side in the waffle, and it was a great opportunity for our kids to play on the big stage, and you know, it was a really good crowd and a really good atmosphere, and you know, they went down, but they didn't just roll over. They had a good go after quarter time, and they'll gain a lot out of that.
Does having Gaff back in amongst the group give you hope that maybe that's a sign that he wants to stay with the group a little longer?
I hope so. I've said this from the start. We really love Andrew, and we want him to stay at the club, and we're doing everything we can to keep him.
How long do you think it will take for Andrew to come to you or the club and express where he wants to be next year?
It's been a difficult time for Andrew with his father, so we've respected that, and we've really backed away from all those discussions. At the moment, all we're worried about is getting him back in the club, and he'll make that call in the next few weeks, I would have thought.
I understand it's a fine balance with his personal situation as well, but how often have you been in contact with Andrew over that situation?
About the
contracts, just him being...
No, it hasn't. Like I said, the family support's been obviously first and foremost, and I think we've done everything we can to help him out there, and I'm sure he's appreciated the support that the club's given him, and now it's the next phase is to get him back here and, you know, getting back into the footy club and feeling normal.
He's a popular member of the playing squad. Can it benefit you having him back in the team?
Oh, we missed him. Yeah, I missed him around the club. So I think just having a mate back is going to be good for our players. It'd be good to see him training today. I'm not sure how much training he's been doing, so he might be a bit out of shape, but he's normally pretty fit, so he'll be okay.
Just back on the forward line, it is actually the first time this year where you will have those 6 first choice guys. Are there any concerns that it's a bit of the unknown, given they all have...
There's an unknown about our front half. I don't think they're first choice necessarily. I mean, you wouldn't say that at the start of the year, what our first choice forward line would be. I dare say that Kennedy, Darling and Lacroix are all... And Jamie Cripps has really come on this year with him, really pleased with his performance. But I think those 4 are, you know, probably the most consistent forwards we've had in a long period of time. The other guys have really come on really well, but you know, they're still young and they're still learning, so to put that type of pressure on them, they're going to get it this week, but yeah, it's certainly there's a process they need to control, and they're very role-driven, so that won't change.
And the excitement at ground level is something you haven't had in previous years. What's it like having that in your level now?
Yeah, the last few weeks has been important, and without our talls, I don't think Kennedy and Darling have been together much in the back half of the year. So we've had to rely on different avenues, and some weeks it's worked really well, and some weeks it hasn't. So having those different avenues to score has been important to get us to where we are now, and can that complement with our talls is the next phase, I suppose.
There's a lot of talk about Collingwood's undersized defence. What do you make of that, and do you see that as an
area? I look at Collingwood's system rather than the individuals, and I think we went through that in 15. We lost 2 or 3 players in Brown and McKenzie through reconstructions, and we had to play a different way, and we found a way. And I see Collingwood very similar to how they've gone about it. It's based around their whole team, not just 3 or 4 individuals, and I don't see that changing.
The East Perth boys that played yesterday pull up okay?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how they go. They'll be training at their own pace tonight, but they'll stay with the squad for the rest of the season.
Adam, you mentioned match committee 3 times this week. Do you think there's going to be some really tough decisions this week?
Oh, look, there'll be healthy debate. There has to be. So it's a good problem to have. Not ideal for some of our players. I know that, but there's probably, we've had a squad of probably around 30 players that we've gone through this year, or even more. So, and all of them have stood up in their own way. So it'll come down to matchups, come down to form, and we'll see how we go.
Apart from, I guess, Eric and Nick not being there for the finals, is this sort of a healthy list going into finals, the best you may have had in the last couple of years?
Well, Gaffey's another one that's, probably would have slipped him in somewhere. So you're never perfect, and no club is. No club goes in with a healthy, full list. Or if you do, you've done very well. So we're no different than a lot of clubs. So Eric McKenzie's another one who's been, sorely missed at stages this year as well. So we're aware of that, but we've been dealing with that all year.